It seems like everything in this economy is super expensive. And now, of course, buying your house is one of them. Not only do you have to save for a down payment, closing costs, inspections, appraisals, but now you even have to pay your real estate agent's commissions. What kind of crazy stuff is that? Well, in today's video, I have 3 specific things you can do to save money in the home buying process. So pull out your papers, pull out your pens, get everything ready, and let's get right into it, shall we? First and foremost, number 1 is going to be the appraisal and the inspection. Now, there's something very particular about these 2 items that really, when you're talking about other costs, they're not the same. The specific, I feel like I just gave you a word burrito there. I apologize. Sometimes I just try to sound much smarter than I actually am. The 2 things that are different from other costs when buying a house, see what happens when I just don't overthink it, is these are things that are due up front. That means there's no delaying paying. When it's time to do the inspection, you pay the inspector. When it's time to order the appraisal, you order the appraisal. And for those who don't know, the inspection is when you inspect the house. The appraisal is when the lender sends somebody to verify the value. So here's the thing. The inspection could cost you $400 to $700, depending on the levels of inspectors and the additions you get. Word for the wise, a lot of inspectors give you like bonus add-on inspections. Like they'll do an additional AC inspector, an additional roof inspector. They just essentially hire a contractor that they've already gotten like an agreement with, and the contractor goes out there to give a bid. Okay, so save yourself the extra money and just hire your own contractor on top of the inspections. I bet you can find a contractor to do it for free. Just a heads up. But anyways, and the thing is, of course, it's due at the time of the inspection, or even a lot of times before the inspection. For the appraisal, it's about $600 to $800. The lender will usually charge it up front. Sometimes they delay it to the end, which we can talk about that in a little bit, but it's also usually the time they ask you for a credit card or a debit card when you're in the like inspection phase, and you have to pay for that. And a lot of people don't expect it because they think it's a closing cost. But here's the thing that you can do to save money. Have the agent and lender cover these funds. What you need to do is when you're negotiating, really, I mean, every part of the contract is a negotiation, but when you're negotiating your agent and your lender, in other words, when you're interviewing them to see who you're going to hire, just ask this question. Are you going to save me any money by covering any cost during the home purchase? And zip it up. You'll be surprised what they might offer. A lot of times they're making a good chunk of change from the transaction, at least right now. I don't know how things will be after July when the rules change, but they're making a good chunk of change. If they're making $10K plus on the deal, the least they can do is pay $400, $500, $600 inspection, right? So just see what they say. And if they don't say anything, they say, okay, great. Well, can you help cover the inspection for me? You know, with down payment and closing costs, I feel like that's you contributing the funds for the inspector would be a great help. And just see what they say. The worst case scenario, they say no. Same thing with the lender when you're talking to them. Hey, once they give you the closing costs and they give you all those the ideas of those numbers, simply ask, are there any funds that you, or is there any cost? Is there anything that you can cover from any of these costs? If they say no, then you can say, will you cover the appraisal for me? And if you want to be extra cheeky, you can say, well, you know, I'm asking all of the lenders I'm interviewing, would you cover the appraisal? Or the same thing with the agent. I'm asking all the agents I'm interviewing, would you cover the inspection? See what they say. You wouldn't be surprised. And worst case scenario, they say no. They'll respect you more for asking. And at worst case scenario with the lender, you could at least ask them, could you delay the payment for the appraisal until after closing, or like not after closing, but added to the closing costs. And what that basically does is the lender will will pay the appraisal up front so that you don't have to cover with your credit card. And basically they'll collect those funds from the closing costs at the end of the transaction. So you can at least delay that in that way. But nice little easy one that does take you some guts for you to actually ask, hey, can you cover this for me? But you're going to have to get uncomfortable with questions like this if you're looking to buy a house. The second thing you can do to save money is buy an ugly house. Let me give you the magic formula that has never let me down in any of the houses I've ever helped people buy. If you can find an if you can find an ugly house that's in good shape, has been owned by a homeowner for a relatively long time, and it has bad photos or bad marketing, that's an opportunity. they will require you to have some additional funds for remodeling and to making the house nice. Like, you can buy yourself a really remodeled house that's been flipped. There's going to be issues down the road, as I've learned, and there's a video that I'm working on that's going to be coming out hopefully in the next few months that you'll hear about. You can find a house that just has been remodeled perfectly, not by a flipper, but by people that have owned it for a long time and have put so much money, time, and energy, and now they think their house is worth like amazing diamonds. That's all great situations, but this has been the winning formula specifically for first-time home buyers. This is going to be hard to find. Yes, I get it. But if you can specifically focus and put all your time and energy into finding something like this, you're going to set yourself up in a good shape. The goal, of course, is to get a house, to get the price lowered and get more concessions from the seller. And if you find a situation that is specifically is long-term home ownership, you can try to pull for the heartstrings here, and you can really make sure with your lowball offer, say, hey, this is going to someone that'll take care of the house as much as you have. You can pull up all the stops. You can really make them, like, get the mariachi out there when you're playing and just sing to them a good story, and that stuff works. I'm telling you, it works specifically. Now, you're going to find situations where you get some grumpy sellers. If the seller doesn't want to work with you, walk, okay? Don't get overly attached to a property. Don't go and say, well, if this is the house doesn't work, then I don't want to buy a house. There will be plenty of opportunities. And yes, you will need some more patience, some more diligence to find these opportunities, but you can do it. And the last thing you can do that'll save you some moolah in the home buying process is evaluate your situation. Okay. Here's what I mean by that. There's two factors that are going to save you money when it comes to your, not only your loan amount, your monthly payment, your closing cost, but more importantly, like your overall, what you're paying in interest in the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, however long you're going to live in the house for. And the two factors are your down payment, which basically affects your loan amount, and your credit score. I might have had something before that. You didn't see it if you saw it beforehand. Those are the two things that'll affect it. So knowing that these are the two major factors that affect your long-term financial situation with this mortgage, because you the only way you can change your mortgage payment, the terms, the interest, all of that, is if you do a whole refinance. So really think about how imperative it is to have these two situations in good hand. So basically, you have to ask yourself these two questions. How much money can you realistically save per month? And how many months can you hold off on buying to make yourself a stronger buyer? Delaying gratification. So for example, if you know you can save about $2,000 a month if you just continue living the way you are, well, figure that out. Hey, right now my down payment's this, my credit's this. If I just delay 6 months, I can save an additional $12,000. That can go towards my down payment, so I can be in another level, right? Because basically your down payment with conventional can be 5%, 10%, 20%. So there's like different like tiers, right? So it could potentially get me to the next tier. Or you can say, if I delay gratification a year and I can save, I don't know, $3,000 a month, that can save me $36,000. And I can use that funds to not only pay off all of my debt, pay off my credit cards, pay off my card, but also increase my saving situation. Delaying gratification could be greatly rewarding for you, and it will take a lot of guts, because you might be in a situation already where you can buy, but just because you can buy doesn't mean that you should buy. If you're not happy about something specifically in the house, like, I don't know, the interest isn't right, the market doesn't feel right, there's nothing wrong with delaying. Okay, delaying can make you a stronger buyer as long as you're working on it. Don't just delay and do nothing. Like, when you take those break years in college, like, I'm gonna take a break year and you don't do nothing. A lot of us are still in that break from college and we just never went back. You could potentially get a better interest rate. You could potentially get better terms. You can potentially get a better loan amount. Now, here's the con. Here's the thing about the market. The only thing sure about the market is the way it is right now, right? You can safely look in the past what's happened. You can look at where things are today, but there's no indication of what's going to happen in the future. So there is a chance if you do delay, things will get more expensive. I know that people keep saying the rates are going to drop and things are going to get better, but the rates are still people are still buying. Like, things are still strong for the time being. So there's just no guarantee or like assurance that everything's going to get better in the future or things are going to get worse. The only thing that you can predict is how things are today. And if you are in a relatively good situation to buy right now, and you can buy right now because you're tired of renting, you just want to become a homeowner, then it is your chance to buy, right? Really know that that is the risk you're taking, but ultimately this is for somebody who just maybe is forcing that situation. They're like, I could buy if I take from my retirement and I ask my mom to help me out, or like you can really force it. And there's no relatively reason to force it. I get it. Some people are in a situation familial. You want to get your kids are about to start school. You want to get them in the same school they're going to be going for the next 12 years, whatever. I get it. Those are the rare exceptions for it. But for a lot of us, sometimes we really force these situations, and it puts us in a position where we might be okay with it for the time being, but a year, 2 years from now, we're really struggling financially, and we put ourselves in a really tense situation that could have probably been avoided if you just would have delayed. What about you? Do you guys have any potential tips to save any money if you already bought a house, or maybe you are buying one? Please let us know down in the comments below. I appreciate it. If you're looking for an agent referral anywhere in the country and you want it to be someone I personally select, you want to do a quick 10-15 minute call with me, go to thehomebuyersguild.com. Links in the description below. This is a program ran by me and managed by me. So if you want that, there it is. And of course, if you're looking in Arizona, please just, you can contact me below. I am still a practicing agent here. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time. I'll see you guys in the next video.